everybody, how we doing? Hello, hello. You guys hear me okay? All right. Don't worry, don't worry. I am gonna watch out Aokiji versus Garp. I'm actually very excited for today's stream. I'm excited for today's stream because there's two things that I wanted to watch individually on my own outside of stream context, but I waited till today. The two things are, first of all, can you guys hear me? Everyone can hear me, right? Y'all can hear me? Yeah, the two things are, who can guess? Obviously, the stream topic. I mean, I basically said it. The stream topic, I want to watch this first look. And then after that, I want to watch Aokiji versus Garp. Those are the two things I've been looking forward to. So, pretty excited for today's stream. Yeah, genuinely, I think this is going to be, like, two back-to-back pretty fun videos to watch. So, I'm excited. I kind of just want to get into it. We're going to get into it once we hit 100 likes, I think. But, yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be two pretty fun things. I've heard good things about Garp versus Aokiji. Obviously, really positive feedback I've been seeing from Twitter on the One Piece remake. And I think that I've seen some stills, so I don't know exactly what I'm getting into here. I don't know if there's going to be any video stuff or just stills and stuff like that, but I'm interested. Banor, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 12 months. I spent the entire last night grinding in order to beat Final Fantasy IV Final Boss. Now I'm on to Final Fantasy V, and holy shit, so much class customization. Anyway, we're a month away from hearing Emu's voice. Let's fucking go. Emu's voice. That's gonna be big for the community. Congrats on beating Final Fantasy IV. I kind of want to play Final Fantasy VII at some point. Now that I'm playing single player games again. You just beat Final Fantasy IV? I just beat Bloodborne yesterday. Bloodborne, DLC, the whole thing. Main game, secret endings, all of that. I am so fucking... Yesterday, I finished Bloodborne in terms of old hunters and final bosses of the main game around, like, midday. And then I spent, like, the rest of the day through nighttime just watching lore videos to understand everything. And... the crazy thing about Bloodborne is that even after having watched a bunch of lore videos, not everyone agrees on a lot of simple things. It's by far the least explained story out of any of these Souls games, I think, by far. I don't think it's really close. I think that there was no point in the game in which I genuinely understood what was happening, whereas at least with Dark Souls 3, I get the gist of what I'm doing. Bloodborne, I didn't fucking know from start to finish. And then I played the Old Hunters DLC, and I remained in complete confusion. And then I watched a bunch of lore videos, and I was like, okay, a lot more makes sense to me now, and there's a lot of consistencies in what people seem to see and agree on, but there's a shit ton of inconsistencies, so it's pretty interesting. Philly, welcome to Pirate King tier. Thank you so much for joining. Seriously, I hope you look forward to the Pirate King podcast. You get access to all of them now right away. And by the end of this month, you'll be able to submit your own questions that what you want me to answer in depth about One Piece, other anime, other manga, etc. on Pirate King tier. So thanks a lot. All right. Raizu Animus says, yeah, Bloodborne is the one of the hardest in terms of lore LMAO. I mean, I've only played Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and now Bloodborne, right? Out of the four, it's like Sekiro is pretty straightforward. I mean, the lore stuff you kind of need to... You're going to understand the plot of Sekiro relatively clearly. I still had question marks as to what the fuck I was doing, but you get the plot generally. And then the lore is kind of vague. Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3... You need videos to understand the broader lore, but you're still going to get the plot, I think, generally of what you're doing. Maybe not the Ringed City and Ashes of Arendelle, but you'll still get it generally. Bloodborne, I was playing through the game. I had nothing. Genuinely nothing. I genuinely had no fucking idea as to what the fuck was going on the entire time. The one time that I thought I understood shit that was going on was when, there's like a baby that you hear throughout it, and... mild spoilers in Bloodborne. You beat a mid-game boss, Rom, and you hear this baby and everything, and I'm like, okay, so this is like a new part of the game. And then very shortly afterwards, I'm fighting this boss, again, mild spoilers, it really doesn't matter, called the One Reborn. And it seems, I'm like, oh, I'm putting two and together. I'm like, oh, that baby must have been like some godlike being that got reborn, and it's the One Reborn, and that's what's happening. Turns out that's not it whatsoever. The baby continued to be a thing. The One Reborn was just some other random shit. And turns out the One Reborn didn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. So basically, the only point in the game that I thought I'd put the pieces together, I did not have. I had no fucking idea what was going on. So the lore dump videos helped a lot. But now, having listened to a bunch of the lore dump videos, I see a lot of inconsistencies between different people's interpretations. I have my own interpretations that now are based off of that. But yeah, there's just a lot in Bloodborne that's left unclear. Elden Ring time? Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to take a short break from games and stuff, and then probably start Elden Ring very soon. Goomba Boomba, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 22 months. The passion the staff are exuding in the video makes me optimistic for the remake. Really looking forward to it and hope it continues beyond East Blue. I do think passion for the source, I think passion matters a lot. Because I think anytime you get a poor adaptation of something, it's when the creators don't really understand what they're doing. Although this is obviously anime, it's in Japan, like everybody there loves One Piece, right? Of course, it's going to be a very passionate project, I would imagine. But still, it's cool to see. Knut Worgen, thanks for the 5. Before selling your soul to Elden Ring, are you going to read/watch any manga, anime, movies, shows, or books? That's a great question. Because I do know that, you know, when I'm playing Bloodborne or one of these games, like, my time just goes there. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to try and finish Fire Punch. I'm going to try and get into Vagabond a bit more, right? I'm going to try and do those things before Elden Ring. Maybe watch some movies or something again. And that's going to be my goal. That's going to be the stuff I do before Elden Ring. Then, but I want to play Elden Ring very, very soon. I'm probably going to do a From Software bosses tier list so far with Bloodborne included. So I'll do Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro. I'll do a tier list like that stream. Josiah White says no Dark Souls 2. I'm probably not. If I play Dark Souls 2, it'll be so far down the line. I've just heard all of these things about Dark Souls 2. It's not by Miyazaki, which means that it's not really the same. It's like you have the same label slapped on it, but it's not the same vision, you know? It's just some other people's vision. So for me, it's just like, and it sounds as though it veers very far off course from what the rest of these series games feel like. So I'm just not going to play Dark Souls 2. I understand a lot of people will be like, no, you should just play it to complete the trilogy or whatever, or fill it all out. But look, like, just playing a game isn't just some. It's not like, oh, just watch, you know, Deadpool 2 so you know what's going to go on before you watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, there's a difference between playing a video game, which is like a 50-hour commitment, right? A 50 fucking hour commitment of your free time just to check off a box. I'm not going to do that, you know? Like, there's other games that I could play that are probably better games than Dark Souls 2 in the meantime, right? I'm happy having played all of the Miyazaki games so far. If anything, I might play Demon Souls at some point. Yeah, like the stream. Once we get the stream likes to 100, I'll start doing reactions. Behenoid, thanks a lot. BTW Morj, what's coming? What's with those black rectangles? Why is nobody talking about it? Great question. Stay tuned. We'll be announcing it in September. Also, it's not the Wano analysis, which is coming in September anyway. This is something different. There'll be some more promotional stuff for it coming up soon. But I'm glad you asked. Big shouts to Behenoid. If you guys have noticed, I've started doing a bit of promotion on the channel for something coming around the corner that I think you guys will find pretty exciting, especially if you've been like a longtime viewer or if you're just a One Piece fan in general. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel or a One Piece fan in general, you'll probably find it interesting or pretty exciting, honestly. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, again, it's not the Wano analysis. The Wano analysis is already scheduled for September. So September is just going to be a packed month for the channel in terms of doing shit. Tutorial boss says, play the first game ever made, no balls. I don't know. Raffy Goat says, you don't need to watch Deadpool 2 to enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine, to be honest. Yeah, and I view Dark Souls 2 the same way. I feel like I played Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. It actually low-key irritates me that Dark Souls 3 is called Dark Souls 3. It feels like a direct sequel to Dark Souls 1. It's like a, I don't know, OCD type of thing, I guess you could say. I feel like it would be so cool if Dark Souls 2 didn't exist and it was just Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2. And like, but I mean, Dark Souls 3 was called Dark Souls 2. You know what I mean? Like, I feel weird saying Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 when I view those as direct sequel, like a direct sequel predecessor relationship, right? Two halves of the same coin. It feels weird calling the third one Dark Souls 3 when I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, that's the second one. You know, that's the second half of this story to me. Elden Ring might take longer than 50 hours. Oh yeah, Elden Ring definitely takes longer than 50 hours. If to do it fully, I'm sure, especially with the DLC, I've heard that the DLC is comparable in length to like the base game of one of these other games. Yeah, for anyone asking, as Benhart says, there's 3 black rectangles in Morj's YouTube banner. Yes, and on my Twitter banner as well. Rizo Anime says, Morj, Dark Souls 2 is really good, but it's clearly the worst modern Souls game. Yeah, and I've heard that the style and feel is very different, so I'm sure it's a good game, but there's other really great games that I could play instead. And if I felt, here's the thing, if I was playing Dark Souls 3, and I felt like I'm missing a ton of context, like I'm missing a piece of the, like a significant piece of the lore or the world or like the experience with Dark Souls 2, then I might go and play Dark Souls 2. But I don't. I play Dark Souls 3. It feels like a seamless continuation from Dark Souls 1, personally. Elden Ring first playthrough will be 100 plus hours. Yeah, I'm excited. And plus the DLC. I'm just happy I'm going to get to play it all at once. Elden Ring plus the DLC. More just having triplets? No. Caleb Carver says, do you think next arc Robin will be reunited with her giant friend Saul? Yes, I do think that that's going to happen. Naming them Luffy, Sabo, and Ace. What do I think about the Olympics? I didn't watch a ton of the Olympics. I tried to watch a bit of men's basketball. The Olympics, I feel like it all ended so fast. I feel like it was... for some reason, I remember the Olympics going on for like a month. You know what I mean? Like... I swear I thought the Olympics, back in my day, I swear that the Olympics were like a month long or something like that. But it felt like it flew by in a couple weeks. Maybe I'm wrong. How long were the Olympics? It was cool to watch some events. I saw some swimming events, cycling, some random track field, javelin throw, shot put shit, but, or not shot put, the swinging one. I saw some random bits and pieces of stuff here and there, and that was fun. Oh, ping pong, gold medal. Yeah, stuff like that. Steph Curry cooked France. Yeah, I couldn't watch this. So I had a doctor's appointment halfway through the semifinals. I know that's not the France game, but I couldn't watch the finals. I missed the finals. And then the semis, I had a doctor's appointment halfway through. So the game was spicy. And then I was missing the second half in the doctor's office. And I kept doing that thing where, like, you know, the doctor comes in and out of the room. Like, the nurse takes you to the room. Like, first you're in a waiting room, so I'm watching a bit there, and I'm like, I hope they take a while to call my name. Then nurse takes you to the waiting room. She asks you some questions. I'm like, get out of here, so I could watch this game in my head. So then she leaves, and then I'm like, okay, hopefully the doctor, you know, there's usually a pause before the doctor shows up, so I'm like, okay, I hope this doctor takes a long fucking time. But that day, they were so fucking damn efficient. It was like 2-minute breaks between everything. Like, waiting room didn't wait long. Waiting room, once the nurse took me there, like the doctor's room or whatever, didn't have to wait long for the doctor. Everything just flew by. Missed the game, semifinals. And I didn't really care as much about the finals because I felt like once they got past Jokic and Serbia, I felt like they just steamroll France. It sounds like it was a closer game than I thought, but the only thing I really missed about the finals is missing the Curry show at the end. Hawkins, thanks for the 5. How goes the Bloodborne playthrough? Also, I read Gachi Akuta, and I can honestly say it'll be the next big thing. You should check it out. People were talking about that, I remember, Gachi Akuta. Let me write that down. I swear I wrote it down somewhere. Maybe it's in my anime list now. I finished the Bloodborne playthrough, so I was just talking about that at the beginning of the stream. So Bloodborne playthrough, done. Love the game. I want to sit on my thoughts on it for a little bit. It might be my favorite game in that series. It's just complicated because it's just there's too many variables. You know, there's too many variables. It's either that, Dark Souls 3, or Sekiro. It's complicated. It's too complicated. I think Bloodborne might be my favorite. I don't know. I gotta let it sit for a little bit. Gotta let it sit. But I love Bloodborne. I got a lot to say on that. I'm gonna do a FromSoft like bosses tier list, games type tier list or something late. I mean, there's only 4 games, but I'll do at least a bosses tier list or something pretty soon. Akash Panda, thanks for the 2. Watch episode 1115 and One Piece Gulag 2, please. I will be watching 1115. I'll be watching that right after this. And One Piece Gulag, we'll probably have time. I can watch that a bit. I might even watch Pokemon Adventures at the end. Let me pin a message. Behano, thanks a lot. I was really rooting against Team USA, but Curry's too good. This felt like Steph, KD's, and Braun's final victory lap in if anything, against the future GOAT. I really, really enjoyed just seeing Braun, Steph, and KD share the floor together in a actually meaningful context, not like an all-star game. It was genuinely like some scripted-ass shit. Just the way that they all worked together, the way that they all were able to, like, I watched the highlights, like, when the games came down the line and got close, it was them who were driving the team to victory. They were the ones who became the pillars of Team USA. It just feels right, like, you know, because it's like we know that these are the 3 best players of that generation, of this last generation of basketball. But it's cool to just see that confirmed in like it's not, you know, Earth against the aliens or anything like that, but like, you know, just you can kind of imagine, like, ultimately we're not the underdogs by any stretch of the imagination, but you can kind of imagine it as like, okay, if Team USA really needed to win, it's like, look, when it comes down to it, Jason Tatum and like Tyrese Halliburton and Devin Booker and like Anthony Edwards and these new stars, they are not LeBron, Steph, and KD, right? Like, when it comes down to it, the players that we knew are the best players, right? Like, the players that we knew in our hearts are, like, the greatest players that are still playing today in the game. They're the ones that carried Team USA. Like, it wasn't the new phony stars from Team USA or whatever. It was, like, even though they're old and supposedly washed up and shit and they can't, like, turn it on 82 games, it's like, no. If you want some players to actually lock in and drive you to victory over the span of a few games when your back's against the wall, it's still LeBron, Steph, and KD. Not these fucking phony-ass, fake-ass new American stars. Anthony Edwards, opinion pending. He might be good. Linskov, thanks for the 5. Watch One Piece episode. Reminder to finish Attack on Titan. Watch Summertime Rendering. Thank you for all the reminders, man. I appreciate it. I will be watching the One Piece episode. Lars Caesar, thanks for watch. Rewatch Ping Pong. You have to watch it. Have to. I've watched Ping Pong. Ping Pong is my favorite sports anime that I've seen. It's very artistic. It's very short. It's a really, really cool style. I love Ping Pong, the animation. I really enjoyed it. Le Man, thanks for 5. Girl at work touched my arm today. Didn't know life could be this good. Nothing but dubs from here, boys. That's good for you, Le Man. I think that's some good shit. Sounds promising. Ramen Stains, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 22 months. Morph, what will John Bart's role be in the final war? I was introduced with Rayleigh. He was introduced with Rayleigh, another goat, and his joining with Law is legendary. Oda cooking. John Bart, I don't know. I just got to remind everybody of the story of Jean Bart. All right, Jean Bart isn't just weak. He's one of the weakest characters you'll ever see in the New World in terms of relevant named characters. All right. This is one of my favorite pastimes. People have talked about my law rants and shit like that, right? But people forget before any of that. Not before any of that. This wasn't before any of that. But there's one character who I've only ranted once about. And it's Jean Bart. Let me just show you what this bum is about, all right? So the Law's pirate crew, right? Law's pirate crew, supposed to be like a good-ass pirate crew, you know? Like, like, I imagine where do you guys think Jean Bart ranks in Law's crew? Where do you guys think Jean Bart ranks in Law's crew? How strong is Jean Bart in Law's crew? Assume Law's first, right? Second after Beppo. Third after Law. Beppo and Law. Top 4. right? This is just an idea of how ass Law's crew is, right? Let's see what the people think. All right, let me show you what Jean Bart is about. Nobody remembers this scene. Okay? Nobody remembers this scene. So first, let me show you something. All right? Okay, most people have him third, at worst fourth, right? So this is like, Jean Bart is like the Sanji. He's like this. If you got him top 3, he's basically like the Sanji of Law's crew, right? Okay, he's the Sanji of Law's crew, right? So watch this shit. Okay, so this is in the whale forest. All right, Luffy's fighting some whatever the fuck musketeer or some shit. Not even musketeer, forest guardian, right? There's this gorilla. Don't know who it is. I don't fucking know this gorilla's name. Jean Bart yells, "We'll just have to stop you by force." All right? Jean Bart coming in hot. This is the Sanji of Law's crew, all right? Keep in mind, this gorilla is so fucking irrelevant. We don't even know his name. All right? This is top tier irrelevance, all right? And this is Law, one of Luffy's rivals. This is top 3 member of his crew. Coming in, trying to make something happen. Don't interfere, Jean Bart. What is this? Is this a 0 diff? Is this a negative diff? Like, what is this? This is, what happened here? What? Oh crap, we can't keep him under control. What monstrous strength? They have to be saved by bananas. Ooh, bananas. He lost to this fucking monkey that is easily distracted by a pair of bananas. Okay, look at this shit. Have you ever seen a more humiliating panel in your life? Okay, we found out his name. His name is Blackback the Gorilla Mink. Never to be heard from again. He's 0 diffed Jean Bart. And some people might say, oh, well, Jean Bart was injured, right? So it's fucking BB the gorilla. This dude, if you guys recall, the minks were tortured for days by Jack. These minks are in far worse shape than fucking Jean Bart. That's for fucking sure. What the fuck is this? What happened here? And just as a reminder of how fucking humiliating this is in the grand scheme of things, right? Oh, that worked out, I guess, because they got their asses saved. I am screen sharing, right? You guys can see this humiliation, right? Let me show you guys. Zoe. Whoops. Zoj. That's kind of cool. Do you guys see that art? What is that? Musical artist. That's kind of cool. All right. That's not the point, though. We're focusing. Zoe. Let's look at the citizens of Zoe. Citizens of Zoe. Where are the citizens of Zoe? If we're looking at the citizens of Zoe, why doesn't it show the citizens? Why does it not show the people of Zoe? The minks? Maybe I should look up the mink tribe. Mink tribe, okay? So if we look at the mink tribe, here is kind of how it works, right? So at the tippy top brass, you've got the dukes. Inuarashi, Nekomamushi. Respectable characters. Yonko commander level, right? They can fight Jack and shit. Then you go a big step down, and then you get like Pedro and Sicilian and those type of guys, right? Like Pedro level, right? And Pedro level, from what we kind of saw, it's about equal to like Baron Tamago, right? Roughly about Baron Tamago level. But Pedro immediately lost to someone like Perospero. So like whatever you consider Baron Tamago level to be, right? And then you go a step down from that, and then you get Pedro's fucking subordinates, Roddy and Blackback, right? So these characters are much weaker than Pedro, or at least solidly weaker than Pedro, right? And so you take these characters who are basically completely irrelevant, did nothing during the Onigashima War, right? You take them, and that's basically the type of character that can one-shot Jean Bart. This is no joke, a fucking one-shot. It's not like he got rid of Jean Bart and then like it was just like momentarily pushing him away or something, and Jean Bart got back up afterward. No, Jean Bart is literally down. Like he's low-key almost knocked out. He's still saying some unknown shit, but his eyes are white or whatever. He literally just the Law's crew. This is what they look like on land, right? So this is the situation of Law's crew on land. You got Beppo in fucking awe of whatever the fuck he saw from Roddy and Blackback, fodder level characters. Jean Bart, who just got 0 diffed by a severely injured Blackback. And then you got fucking Shachi and Penguin, who are hiding in the trees and pulling an Usopp. Law's crew is as big of a fraud. They're bigger frauds than he is. Law at least does some competent stuff. Law's crew is ass. Although, in the water, they are effective, so you have to give them that. But I know Jean Bart isn't effective in the water because he didn't have all that aqua, submarine, aquatics, naval combat background that the other ones have. So Jean Bart is just a net negative, like, black hole of uselessness on Law's crew. Anyway, as for your question, I believe the original question was, what role do you think Jean Bart will have in the final war? I don't know. Fighting, like, 2 to 3 Marine soldiers or something like that. All right. Anyway, let me catch up on these real quick. The FPS King Gaming, thanks for the 10. Morj, I missed my train after I trudged through swamp and got hella ticks. The worker stared in my soul and didn't let me on. What? Thoughts on what? Okay. I'm sorry, man. Fuck. They didn't let you on because you had ticks? Did they know you had ticks? Thoughts on Shanks' death giving Buggy development and Smoker and Elbaf? Oh, Shanks' death giving Buggy development would be really, really cool to see. I didn't even think about that, honestly. Because I'm mostly thinking about how Shanks' death would affect Luffy, but Buggy's the other character that's really closely tied to Shanks. That's really interesting. I don't know. It might make Buggy more serious about something, but he's already pulled a serious card, so he's kind of committed. We might get some serious scene from Buggy out of it. Smoker and Elbaf. I don't see the route to Smoker and Elbaf, but I'd obviously be happy to see it. I can't imagine, unless Smoker defects from the Marines, I can't imagine a Marine being allowed onto Elbaf. Joseph F. S., thanks for the 5. Random prediction, wouldn't it be hilarious if Buggy awakens his fruit and splits the sky due to his awakening, not hockey when clashing with someone? I've seen somebody else mention that, and I do think that that's pretty hilarious. But the thing is that it would actually still, even if it's due to his fruit, it wouldn't even be a comedy thing, because it would still be like, would still be pretty damn impressive, right? Like Buggy splitting the sky. I think it would still be pretty impressive if he split the sky with his fruit. It's not quite as impressive as with hockey, but it would still be like, damn, like Buggy's like what, island level now or some shit. The Senate, thanks for the 2. How does the One Piece anime compare to other anime? I'm not supposed to talk shit about the One Piece anime, right? But like, all I'll say is this, and I think I'm gonna enjoy the episode that we're about to watch, right? So let me say this in the most polite way possible, right? I think the fact that the One Piece anime, despite diehard fans claiming that it's such an amazing anime, right? I think the simple fact that it's literally getting a remake to fix it while it is actively going on, which is unprecedented, never before heard of any anime ever, as far as I know, right? I think the simple fact that they're doing the remake while the current one is running, I think that should say enough. I don't think I have to say anything. That's all I gotta say. Remix saying thanks to the 2. Yo, did you watch Supernova Melee this weekend? No, I did not. All I had in my brain at that point was Bloodborne. I'm also a little bit out of the Melee swing at the moment. I did see Mango 1, which is just fucking amazing to see because even though I'm not as much of a Mango fan as if I was more of a Mango fan, I used to be a huge Mango fan, right? For probably the majority of my Melee viewing career from, I'd say 2016 onwards to like 2022, I was like a Mango fan. And then some stuff started to change. I just started to feel like this is just not the personality that like there's just some things about his persona, etc., that I started to see that I'm like, he does like a lot of. I'm not here to talk stuff about Mango because he won yesterday, right? But all I can say is like I think one of the coolest things about Mango's victory is not just the fact that he won, but it's the fact that he actually did this drastic lifestyle change that it's like one of those things that you see in movies, right? He did this drastic lifestyle change. He started taking better care of himself, stopped drinking as much as I understand, stopped eating bad, like just started exercising and everything. He got in such better shape. And like he kept talking about that and tweeting about that. And he was like, I need to fix all of this stuff about my life before I'm able to like actually play and compete better. And that's stuff that it's like, yeah, that's nice, but I don't know if that's actually going to help his Melee or whatever. And for a long time, it didn't. Like, for a long time, he'd gotten in shape, and it wasn't delivering him tournament results. And then he actually still powered through that and stuck to it. Because the Mango that I know from the past would have just been like, okay, I tried this for a bit. I'm going back to my old ways. He actually stuck to it. And Now it seems like he's like got the healthiest mentality and like healthiest physical, like himself, like healthiest physical state of his body ever. And like those two things are legitimately actually working out for him because he's won back to back, right? Like I think the last time he won back to back was in 2021 or maybe late 2022, I want to say. Like that's actually fucking insane because it feels almost scripted. It's like, oh shit, so like actually just taking care of himself and like getting rid of all of his bad lifestyle habits and everything like that legitimately has made him play at his best at Melee consistently, which is something that we used to only see once in a while. That's really, really cool because it's actually inspiring outside of the Melee scene. It reminds you that like, no, a lot of what you feel in real life, etc., just taking better care of yourself and like treating yourself better, that does lead to better mentality and better just ability to perform at your best in other areas. I think that's a really inspiring sort of little storyline. Jade FW, thanks for the 2. Yo, thoughts on House of the Dragon? Love it myself. Please no spoilers on House of the Dragon. We're on season 2, a few episodes in, maybe actually episode 4 now at this point. I've been loving House of the Dragon. I've been really, really enjoying House of the Dragon. It does feel like Game of Thrones, like early Game of Thrones type writing. In some ways, it's more interesting. It's almost more interesting faster than Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones took some time to build to larger scale, like larger scale plot movements, whereas I feel like House of the Dragon, it moves through time so quickly that it sets up larger scale events faster. I've heard things about the finale of season 2 being not that satisfying, so I'm curious to see how that goes. But so far, I've been loving it. It feels like I'm getting that Game of Thrones fix again, so I strongly recommend it to most people. English 1D1, thanks for the 5. LeBron, KD, Steph are literally Garp, Sengoku, Rayleigh level. Best of the best, but can't hang for a whole war. 82 games. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that. Ramen Stains, thanks for the 2. Stop it with the slander. He's above law. You're right. I would put John Bart above law, for being perfectly honest. English 1D1, thanks for the 2. Law greater than Beppo, greater than Penguin / Sachi, greater than John Bart after water fight. I think that's just in the water, though. You know, I think that's just in the water. I don't know if that applies to on land. Because on land, it seems like Shachi and Penguin are just, they kind of just hide and don't really do anything. Let me do an update here, which is we're going to watch reacting to episode 1115 after this, after the main reaction. I'll pin that in a second. Let me just see this real quick. Brandon King, always good to see you, man. Thank you for being a Yonko tier member for 6 months. 6 months! Yeah, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 6 months, man. Thoughts on Rox's spiky hair being the traditional spiky rays people draw on suns? Rox looks like a sun to contrast Garling's moon hair. I never thought about that. I feel like that might be reading too much into it, because I don't know if, like, spiky hair... Because if it was spiky hair that was, like, going out in a semicircle... If that makes sense, then I'd be like, okay, maybe Oda's trying to do something symbolic there. But it's just spiky hair that you know, it's just standard spiky hair. You know, I don't think that there's anything. I wouldn't read too much into that, but I think it's interesting. I don't think Oda wants him to represent the sun necessarily. Basim El Madawi, thanks for the 10. Law's solo is just better for the story. I think that a God Valley 2 will occur on Laughdale, a battle royale with all Yonko crews, and Law will be there. Mihawk versus Zoro, Shiryu, and Luffy, Blackbeard, Shanks, and Shanks, Buggy. So I've got some thoughts on that. Because I've been thinking about how Crosskill could get involved for some time now. A battle on Laughdale would be really, really cool. I could definitely see Laughdale being a battle royale. This is a lot of thoughts that I want to save for a separate video, because I need to parse my own views of, like, how do I explain this? Right now, I think that there's almost 2 ways that the story of One Piece could play out from here. I want to hold my thoughts on how I believe that those 2 directions could go for a little bit. But yeah, I think the tricky thing is that it makes predicting Elbaf very difficult, because it's like, will Elbaf, a lot of people think that that might be a battle royale to some degree between various pirate crews, but maybe if it's just Shanks and the red-haired pirates versus Luffy, that could keep it smaller. Growth Stonks, thanks to the 5. There's regular, ancient, artificial, and mythical zones. Since we have regular, ancient, and artificial giants, could there be a race of mythical giants? I never thought about that. I would say no, simply because I feel like giants already kind of fall into the category of mythical beings. They're just real in the One Piece world, so I don't know what mythical giants would necessarily be. But that is a really interesting observation. I never thought about that. Behano, thanks a lot. Given that Dressrosa anime was ass and that Toei refuses to go seasonal, I'm just glad that we've gotten so many talented animators and directors thanks to the One Piece anime, even if pacing is still shit. Look, I'm still thankful that we get some really, really cool scenes adapted really, really, really well. Like, just last episode, the Galaxy Impact, that was fucking awesome to watch. Even just seeing, like, Zoro versus S-Hawk, that was really, really cool to see. At the end of the day, I'm not the type of person who wants to just dip into the One Piece anime for clips. I would personally just love if my favorite story could be something that I can just, you know, sit down and actually watch from start to finish. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's awesome that there's highlight clips that I can watch and tune into. But as long as it's not something that, you know, I can just sit down and watch, like, the actual, like, I would love to be able to sit down and watch, like, all of an arc, like all of Whole Cake or something like that, without fucking having to fast forward through a bunch of shit or fucking risk falling asleep half the time, you know, like, or just watching, like, slow paced reaction shots or dragged out or really like shitty animation for stints, right? Just for stints, right? I would love to actually just be able to watch my favorite series as a show and not just as a highlight reel. Right now, it's a phenomenal highlight reel. Like, One Piece anime, it's like up there with any other anime as a highlight reel, I think. That's not what I judge. It's not even judge. It's just like, what would I like to be able to watch? I would love to just be able to sit down and watch, like, the Wano arc without it being, like, it's what, like 150 chapters, right? So it's probably similar amount of episodes, if not more. 150 times 20 minutes, like, what even is, like, I can't even imagine sitting down to, like, do diehard One Piece anime fans go back and rewatch the entire Wano arc in one go? Do they actually do that? I don't know. And that's kind of what I want to be able to do. I just want to be able to watch the series. It's not really in a watchable state to me by my standards right now. And I don't think my standards are that crazy, because my standards are just, don't adapt half a chapter or one chapter per episode when clearly adaptations are supposed to have the reversed ratio of anime to manga episode time, screen time to panel time, right? That's just my personal opinion. I think the very fact that, I don't think that's a crazy opinion, considering that the very fact that we are getting a reboot, and the reboot is most likely going to have vastly different pacing, like correct pacing by normal anime standards, or even just if it went back to fucking pre-time skip pacing, that would do wonders for One Piece, right? I think the simple fact that we're getting the reboot, and that's the number one thing it's going to be changing, and I think most people will consider that to be the better adaptation in the end. I think that in itself is proof that no matter how many highlight reels you throw in, ultimately the pacing of the average episode-to-episode experience matters more. The Senate, thanks for the 5. Thoughts on Kanjo being a Blackbeard parallel? Both evil characters failing to uphold a will. Joy Boy Odin. Watch the video that's coming out on Wednesday, because your point is actually addressed in that video. It would come out tomorrow, but we had a delay because of sponsor stuff, basically. So, video that's coming out Wednesday. Guys, don't panic if a video doesn't come out tomorrow. The video will be out Wednesday. Watch that video, and it will address that point. PG24, thanks for the 5. Sup, Morj? Give me a tip to land a good woman. Also, getting so sick of people scaling off anime. What are the 3 biggest plot things you want from LBAP? That's a lot of different things. Give me a tip to land a good woman. I think that you first need to think inwardly, like, what does that mean to you? Like, what is that? What's that criteria? You got to describe that to yourself, and then think about the traits that you would have that would make you. Sorry, there's a dog here. I don't know. I feel like a good woman that feels like I don't know what that means exactly. I think that's going to be a different definition for each person. What does that mean to you, right? And do you feel like you're a catch in and of yourself for that type of individual? Also, getting so sick of people scaling off the anime. I think people scale off the anime when convenient, but it's binary. You got to pick one or the other. Is the anime canon for scaling, or is it not, right? When a character they like does something cool in the anime, people scale off of that. Like, I thought Garp's Galaxy Impact in the anime is really cool, but I'm not using that as the canon fact of what Garp can actually do. What he can do is what was shown in the manga, which is still very impressive, right? But it's not like he can throw a nuke with his punch. That's just not a thing. Like, if you use the anime as canon, then that means that Batman has got Haki as strong as Luffy, right? I think we all know that's not true, so we all know that the anime is not really canon, right? You can't pick one or the other when it's convenient for you. The 3 biggest plot things I want from LBF, I want Luffy and Shanks interaction. I would love something really big for Usopp storyline. And I think I would like Kid to get back in the fray. Stride Shako, thanks for being a member for 22 months. If Dom Toretto was MC, how fast would he find the One Piece? Well, he wouldn't, because he'd be like Whitebeard. He'd be like, all I care about is family. And he wouldn't look for the One Piece. He'd be satisfied with what he's got. As long as he can make a family. JWP, always good to see you, man. Thank you for being a Pirate King tier member for 20 months and for always supporting the streams. Yo, Morj, man, I liked the last vid. Also, my broken ankle is finally healed after months. Yes, sir. Dude, it feels so good not having to worry about my left Achilles anymore. Like, for so long, that was a nagging problem for me. And then this year, it's just all better again. I'm so happy. And a lot of it was just that I needed to work it out a bit more, you know? Because I'd gone too hard on trying to rest it. So I missed a couple right here. Party McFly, thanks for the 5. Yo, Morj, looks like I got one right from the Egghead Bingo. Lilith did leave with the Straw Hats. I got to circle back to Egghead Bingo. I got to make a note for myself there. I knew I was forgetting a stream idea. Egghead Bingo. Lilith did leave with the Straw Hats. You're right. I think you are right. Schmike the Melts, thanks for being... But we didn't promise rewards for Egghead Bingo. Egghead Bingo is just to create Egghead Bingo. Schmike the Melts, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 1 month. Just started Suits. Who do you like more, Harvey or Mike? Harvey, it's just a more fun character at the end of the day. Harvey's like 50% of the reason that a lot of people watch Suits, right? Like, it's just a cool character, right? Fun, very entertaining character. All right, last one, and then I'm gonna start the reaction. Scrump, thanks for the 10! On my reread of Egghead, and I think chapter 1061 mirrors the end of Egghead, with the ship being protected from a large beast by a giant robot, while Luffy and Bonnie are at their lowest in the water. 1061 mirrors the end of Egghead, with the ship being protected from a large beast by a... Oh, shit. Yeah, you're kind of right. You're right. Yeah. The very beginning of Egghead is paralleled by the... yeah, it's the same thing. A robot saving them from a beast, and Luffy and Bonnie are at their lowest in the water. Yeah, that's a really, really good point. That's a really good point. That's a very interesting little parallel from start to finish. I like that a lot. Great point. Okay. Yeah, if anime was canon, then John Bark tanks Gearfoot's Kong attack. Yeah, which is not the case, because we can see that he's weaker than like, he can't tank a normal mink, a basic mink's base attack, you know? Okay. All right, everybody. It's time. That time has come. Okay, somebody tell me... Is this correct? This is correct? The One Piece, Production Notes, Volume 1. Is this correct? Does Steph Curry own LeBron? No. I personally think that the way LeBron, Steph, and KD all played in this Olympics run kind of reflects... It so accurately encapsulates how I think of each of them as a player in comparison to one another. With, I think ultimately LeBron was the most valuable. Steph ended up being the second most, like, he was the most valuable for the last 2 games. Bron was like the best overall. But Steph was really bad early on. And KD was just this deadly consistent scorer that's good in other areas, but not quite overall as consistent as LeBron. But ultimately, like, when you just need one really good ISO bucket, you go to KD. Like, it just fit like, LeBron is just this guaranteed max value across the board, consistently game after game, never lets you down in any game that matters, right? That's LeBron. Steph, yeah, like, he can go cold at points, right? And there's moments where it can feel like he's not as reliable, but, like, when he's got his shit together, like, when he's on, he's just, like, an otherworldly offensive force. And, like, he can show up. He will show up. At least the Steph of, like, post-KD Warriors Steph, like, the Steph of the 2020s, he will show up when you need him to show up, right? And then finally, KD, you can always rely on him to be, like, that deadly closer when you need him to be. He's probably the best in the world at that, better than even LeBron and Steph. Yeah, it fit what I view each of them as players as. And overall, I'd say, like, I think LeBron was the best overall in these Olympics, then probably Steph, then right there KD. And that, I think, kind of just fits overall, like, how I view each of them like, legacy-wise as players. Is it this? All right. People are saying, yep, it's this. Okay. I don't know. It was just very symbolic in a lot of ways. All right, I'm going to turn off desktop audio for this. Is that fine? Can I turn off desktop audio? I don't want to get fucking flagged or whatever. No, I kind of got it. I think I got to do this version. Guys. I'm sorry. I got to do this version. It's just the way it is. But you guys can see. And just one last little thing. Fuck, I always forget. It's filters. All right, everybody. It's time. Growth Stonks, thanks for the 5. The early design of Onigashima was called Ryugashima. It's possible that this was a mythical giant that could turn into a dragon and then slayed by Ryuma. Marco did say, oh, that's what they're calling it nowadays, but I assume that would be a reference for something down the line. Can you tell me where that was where that was told? I don't need to. All right, fine. Here's what I will do. All right. All right. I can do the standard version. But here's the deal. All right. Here's the deal. I'm doing the standard version. I'm going to keep desktop audio off. It's a YouTube video, but it's by Netflix. I don't trust Netflix at all. Okay, here's the deal. If I get copyright struck for this, right, I will literally never trust you guys again. Which means that no matter what, from here on out, anytime it's a YouTube video, whatever the fuck it might be, YouTube video, fucking Vimeo, whatever, right? I am always going to do the flip and the reverse and the 50% transparency, all right? So I'm trusting you guys on this. You guys are saying it's not going to matter, all right? I'm worried about that. This matters a lot in the sense that if this is incorrect and I get copyright struck, I just can't trust you guys again, all right? All right? Jordan Vance's Morj, everyone has reacted to it, you will be fine. Well, I don't care about everybody else. Shit happens to my channel, I don't know. I can't be like, hey, well, fucking Brago reacted to it and it was okay, so I guess then, you know, like, YouTube, why'd you fucking strike mine? They're not gonna care. They don't know. They don't care. All right, desktop audio I'm gonna keep off, all right? I'll keep desktop audio off, all right? All right, ready? Give us 1% audio. Okay, I'll do 1% audio. I'll do a little bit of audio. A little bit of desktop audio. Tiny bit. Cole got copyrighted? King of Lightning got copyrighted? Okay, King of Lightning got copyrighted? Alright. Is this actually true? Are people lying? Okay, I'm at least gonna mirror it. How about that? Mirroring it is not that crazy. Let me mirror it and turn it upside down. Mirror it and turn it upside down, but I'll keep it big. Alright? I think that's not that insane. That's my compromise. Alright? Alright. And you guys get a little bit of audio. It's a compromise all around. Alright? Alright. Morj got hard baited? Okay, it didn't actually happen. Okay, did King not get actually copyright struck? Fine. I will turn it back. I'll turn it back. I'm going to keep it mirrored. Although at this point, if I'm keeping it mirrored, why don't I just do the whole thing? Yeah, I guess I'll just do the whole thing. All right, whatever. Let's just do it. Okay, everybody. We're doing this. See what happens. There's no subtitles on this. When One Piece already exists as an anime. You wouldn't imagine it's possible. Yeah, there's never been an anime that's recreated from the top while it's still in production. I also don't understand how this stuff happens from like the corporate business sense, because my assumption was that Toei has the rights, right? So if Toei has the rights, then I don't really know who has the rights, I suppose, but wouldn't there be some sort of contract or deal that means that like, hey, it's exclusive with us? It's kind of one of those same reasons that, you know, Marvel couldn't use Spider-Man in their films for so long until Sony agreed to give them back the rights or something like that, right? Or they came up with some deal. So I wonder what, like, something like this that has the potential to be very popular, I wonder what it took to get to, maybe because Toei's so far along in production that this thing would take so long to catch up. But I'm just curious because it's like Toei could milk this for so long, and the existence of a series like this that could potentially replace the anime, like, wouldn't Toei want to do like a One Piece Kai or something like that down the line and just milk it again? What's the incentive that did Netflix just cut that big of a check? So Toei's also involved in this remake. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's a joint operation. Toei gave them permission per se. Okay, that makes a ton of sense, because I'm like, how would they get away with this? Because like, you would never let go of something that's making you this much money, or share it. We're nakama. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think it's really hard to get a lot of people into One Piece with the, because that's the funnel that I've seen, which is like people enjoy the live action enough, and then it's like I can kind of suggest, like, I've had people, like my own dad was like, hey, like, so how's the anime of this? Like, he was interested enough after watching the live action that he kind of wanted to try the show. And then it's just too hard to get people into that, because it's just the show itself. I think the show suffers from two problems, which is the early parts, which are better paced, and you know, I think that's not the issue at that point in time. It's not the pacing, but it's dated for other reasons. It's dated in terms of the animation style, the scene direction, the action, etc. Nowadays, it's the other end of the spectrum, where the action is gorgeous at points, like so over the top, right? Just so impressive, but then the pacing is just unbearable. I personally feel like I most enjoyed the One Piece in the middle section, where it had kind of gotten to the point, like, Ennis Lobby area, kind of, where, you know, the action and everything was good, the pacing was still solid, but it takes a long time to get a new viewer far along enough through One Piece that they stop feeling that it's like a series from the fucking 90s, you know? Like, Arlong Park has fights, but none of the fights are well animated or anything like that. Even Alabasta, a lot of the fights aren't really well animated. It just feels like a dated kind of show nowadays. So, yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. It's too hard to get, because it's like, even if somebody likes the live action, getting them into the anime, I think, is too hard. Especially if they've tried another anime. It's almost like if somebody's tried other anime and then you try and show them One Piece, the early One Piece stuff, which I love and you all love, it's a very hard type of it's like almost like a whole different era of anime. So it's very hard to sell that to somebody who's used to like a Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer or something. It almost feels harder, which is funny if you think about it, because like there was a point where it's hard to get people to the One Piece just because it's an anime, period. Now we're at a point where it's like, no, people are down to try a One Piece anime. We just don't have a decent one that's catchy to show them right off the bat, you know? So it's like people like the live action. They're hoping for some more One Piece. This is what they can be fed. It's hard to feed them the old school anime. And it's the other option is the manga, which most people are just not going to do. Umair says, Morj, Cole plus channel shows you got a copyright strike. We're too deep into it now. Let's get the stream likes up to 200 because we're risking a copyright strike. English 1D1, thanks for the 5. I think because of the length of the series, it's almost a given there will be some over from WIT to people continuing on Toei version. Yeah. Makes sense. JWP, thanks for the 5. Cole's strike was for Hunter x Hunter, and also One Piece's prime for animation for me was Whole Cake Island. I like how cleanly they showed hockey. Also like old anime, so love pre-time skip. I personally really like the episode to episode animation of Egghead, even when it's not like just the art style. So I've really enjoyed Egghead's animation so far. Wano, I didn't like the art style, so that was a part of it, but obviously the animation in Wano was amazing, right? The actual scene direction, etc. And I liked Whole Cake's art style too. They did show hockey pretty cleanly in Whole Cake. That was before we got to all the crazy, effects and everything. I really loved Ennis Lobby's animation style. That was maybe that kind of has like a sort of like golden nostalgic glow for me. Is kind of like my perfect One Piece old school animation style. I think it felt like the manga's art style really brought to life. Egghead doesn't exactly feel like that, but like Egghead has so much personality. It does still feel like true to the manga's tone and everything, right? And I feel like Oda's artwork in general is not quite what it once was, panel to panel. So I think Egghead breathes a sense of life into that. But yeah, Ennis Lobby to me, it fits the manga's art style a lot. I feel like that's when the choreography and fight animation really took off and became a lot better. Just a lot of things I enjoyed about Ennis Lobby. And then Thriller Bark, I think, was a phenomenal follow-up. Thriller Bark at points look like movie-level animation for no real reason. It's like, do they know this is just the Thriller Bark arc? They don't have to be doing smoke. Oh, man. What a travesty what's happened to him. Characters that smoke. They have really good poses. That's true. You always look cool smoking. I don't care what the advertisements say on... Well, okay, don't smoke cigarettes. Let's be very clear on that. But you look cool doing it. But don't do it. Being cool isn't worth it. No, I should rephrase that. It's not cool to smoke, but it does look cool to smoke a cigarette. But don't do it because it's bad for you. Smoothed that over pretty well. Yeah, like, look how fucking cool. Yeah, like, smoke a cigar. Like, smoking cigars and shit just looks cool. Don't smoke cigarettes. There's nothing cool about dying from lung cancer. There's nothing cool about that. Don't do that. Oh, nice. Good pick. I fucking swear to God, I will always maintain this. When Buggy was first introduced, I legitimately thought that he was like a scary, intimidating, like Joker-esque character. The first episode of One Piece I ever watched was when Buggy had Luffy. It was like the Four Kids dub when Buggy had Luffy in the cage, and like the cannons pointed at them and everything, and like Zoro's trying to fight Buggy, and Zoro like loses to Buggy, and Zoro's just like Buggy just seems kind of unbeatable in that moment. That was the first episode of One Piece that I watched. And I never saw the follow-up episodes where, because it would come on, like, you know, sometimes I'd just miss episodes, right? I wasn't in the rhythm of watching One Piece episodes regularly at that point as a kid. So I never saw the part of the story where they fucking defeat Buggy later on. I just saw them manage to get away, you know? So to me, Buggy was like this big threat back then. It was before he started being more comical and ridiculous. Yeah, smoke weed, not nicotine. Although I did just see some study that came out like today that said something about like smoking weed is like bad for your lifetime health or something too. It's a pretty robust study, so now I'm kind of concerned about that. Luckily, I smoked Delta 8, but I feel like that might still have a similar effect. J-Mon thanks me a Yonko to your member for 6 months. I have no idea who gifted me this membership, but thank you so much. Now I'm back on the Yonko Pokemon Adventures reaction when bro. Still, you supported as a Yonko tier member for a good amount of time before that. We had a shit ton of gifted memberships in the last month because people were really excited about the chapters. It seemed like, you know, classic people, JWP, Sheriff Floppy Feet, 02657, Hurrying Lyrics, a lot of donated stuff. Pokemon Adventures reaction when bro. Depending on our time at the end of the stream, maybe we'll throw in some Pokemon Adventures. Damn, so this is all stuff that he drew? That's awesome. I feel like the final product that he landed on here, it's like a lot of the other sketches that he's doing. I assume that these are his sketches that he's doing, right? These feel more, maybe it's the color scheme that's throwing me a bit, because I feel like a lot of these feel more like, yeah, I could believe that Oda drew these. A lot of these feel like very clear, crisp drawings too, like this one. Some are a little off, like this one, but I definitely feel like the style inspiration is right there. The actual final drawing feels a little bit different, but maybe it's because I'm just used to seeing Luffy a little different in color. Zoro looks very good. Zoro looks like identical one to one. Like, this is a very good drawing of Zoro. I would argue this is actually like a little bit like it's the same as how Oda would draw Zoro, but it feels like a little bit more substantive. Like, it just feels like there's a bit more style to it. I think this is a great drawing of Zoro. Sanji seems a little bit different. Sanji seems a little bit different. So these are all, never mind. So now I'm understanding. These are all the actual drawings from One Piece. These aren't his recreations, and that's how he landed on these styles. That makes sense. That's why I was like, a lot of these seem like Oda. I felt like this one wasn't like Oda's style, but this might just be a little bit like a particular drawing where Oda's a little bit off. So this right here, I don't know. I feel like Zoro's is dead on. I feel like Sanji's is a little bit off, but it still looks good. It feels a little bit too clean and a little bit too, like, a little bit skinnier. I know Sanji's normally skinny, but I don't know. These are all his? Sanji's prettier. Are these all his? Okay. So I guess we'll see more as we go. I did feel like these are some really good recreations to the point that I believe that a lot of these could be Oda's. So, and then I guess I'm just judging the final model. I feel like Luffy's final model, I'll get used to it. I've watched the anime for so long, right? So I'm used to that too. Zoro's is dead on. I think Zoro's is good. I'd like it even better than what we see from the manga or the anime. Sanji's is a bit too clean, skinny, and I guess people are saying prettier. Yeah, Oda's drawing style changes. Okay, so I did see complaints about Usopp's whitewashing. It's very pale. I think Nami looks good. This reminds me of old school Nami. It's a little bit softer. I think Nami's supposed to have a little bit more edge in her drawing style. She looks a little bit softer here. I think we just gotta wait and see. I think Nami could be a bit more distinctive. Like, I think it's not quite Oda's Nami style or the anime's Nami style. But like, let's wait and see. Usopp just looks a little bit off. I think because the skin is so white and the lips are so prominently a different shade. But the biggest thing is that I feel like, so the art style for all of these, they don't feel manga-esque almost. I've said this before, but early One Piece reads like a Euro comic almost. These feel like they could fit that as well. And it feels very nice and clean and simplistic. I like these. I like this art style overall. I like this aesthetic overall. It has that old school One Piece charm, personally. Catch up on these real quick. Mark Ross says it's the eyes and spacing around Luffy's eyes that throws me off a bit. You might be right on that. But I feel like he doesn't have that issue as much in other sketches. Like, this looks clean to me. Again, I think I need clarification of this is actually Oda's or his. Because a lot of these look like they could just be Oda's. But right here, it just seems a bit too much. I think maybe the forehead is a bit too big, too. For some reason, it just feels like a bit bigger. Elijah Petty, thanks a lot. Luffy could die at the end of One Piece and have a Roger-type execution by the hands of Kobe. Do you think this is a feasible theory since you think Luffy will die? I can't imagine Kobe being the one to actually kill him. I think that'd be kind of insane. I could imagine it being a case where like Kobe's given the credit for capturing Luffy or something like that. But I can't imagine Luffy having a Roger-type execution. Marco Saint, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 14 months, man. The only weird thing about the concept art released is the light-skinned Usopp. I know he's not dark-skinned in the manga, but still Sammy Sosa vibes. Yeah, I think this is a bit extreme. Maybe it'll move and feel better when we actually see it in the anime, you know? Like, animated. Elle is saying, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 18 months, by the way, Elle. I really, really appreciate it. Look how they massacred my boy Usopp. Let's see. And also, you know, maybe it looks better in movement or something. Overall, the art style, I think, is something I can definitely get behind, and I think it fits the early One Piece vibes very well of just feeling charming, simple, like, you know, a charming, simple little pirate's tale, you know? Like, seafaring little adventure tale. Before what it turns into. This guy was... Oh, no, I'm talking about pre-production. And was covering Nami and Sanji law? Wait, but how? Oh, I see. Well, you guys can see it in the actual thing. I'll be more conscientious of that going forward. Thanks, JWP. Sorry about that. I like this image a lot. This is a beautiful rendition of that image. It's a better shot than it was in the manga itself. Like, the manga is a quick sort of shot of this. I saw that. Shanks is very well drawn. This is really cool. L, thank you for the 5. Hot take, but I'm not a huge fan of the One Piece openings. I love the Attack on Titan openings, so I think WIT's One Piece might actually have some bangers. I think it's rare that I would actually listen to a One Piece opening just straight up, whereas like Attack on Titan, what is that one? Sasageo, whatever the fuck that opening is. That's like a really cool opening that like I have just played and listened to the soundtrack to just straight up. So, I don't know if that's a crazy opinion. I also don't care about the openings too much because it's just not the actual story. I tend to skip it. This is amazing too. I don't know how much of this will actually be what's animated, but this is awesome. And do people genuinely always like bow for these, like, if they're being introduced like that? Like, It's just culture. So like, if I had a boss and the boss came over and was like, "Hi, this is Morj," I'd be like, "Nice to meet you." I guess that's just the culture. I guess the same way we raise our hand. I just didn't know how much that's like actually still done. Understanding of Japanese work culture, but I have read and heard about this in various different formats, which is just that. And again, if I'm being culturally incorrect, then I'm incorrect. This is just something I've heard repeatedly, which is that there is a culture of just the higher ups, which are seniors by age. Their word is just kind of law, and there's expected to be much less input from younger staff members in general. So I like that for a series like this, which is art and based on a fucking shonen, which is targeted to a certain demographic, and it's, you know, it should be a love letter to fans and everything like that. It is important that they're listening for that. Because the thing is, like, there's a lot of things that happen in, you know, throughout East Blue that in the manga they are very, very basic, right? You can make fights like the Black Cat Pirates more substantial and more epic just in terms of how you direct the scenes and how you frame things and how you treat the tone and the atmosphere. Like the same as the manga, as in the flashback of Luffy and Shanks, or I wonder if they're going to start just get into the flow of things kind of like the original anime did. I like the original anime's opening better of the way it starts with. It doesn't even start with Luffy. It starts with Nami robbing a ship, which I think is great for just making it feel like a lived-in world, and like characters are already moving, and like it just feels very like grounded almost. Like oh, it's a cruise liner and it's being attacked by pirates, and then you get introduced to the main character, and then things start to go. And then later on we get a flashback. So I'm curious about if they're going to take the same approach. I feel like now that I think about it, the approach that Oda went with of just having a whole first chapter dedicated to a flashback of the main character as a kid, I feel like that's almost a little outdated in today's manga and anime scene. Yeah, I feel like that's almost outdated. Like it's usually there's usually something a little bit more to chew on early on than just the main character's like childhood. Like if they have a childhood flashback, maybe it comes a little bit later, or maybe it's sandwiched between. Like maybe you're getting a modern day story and then in the first chapter, but you're also getting a quick flashback for the main character in that chapter. I don't know. It's rare that the entire first chapter is just the main character as a kid. You know? I wonder if that'll fly for these guys for a date. That's cool. I am very, very, very interested. Let me just quickly answer. Justin Holland, always good to see you, man. Thank you for being a Pirate King tier member for 22 months. Holy shit. If the seas are falling into chaos, wouldn't this be prime time for heavy hunting bounty hunters to come out of the woodworks? Maybe it'll add tension during the final saga, among other things. I think it's very unlikely we're going to get bounty hunters added in at this point, because it feels like Oda's kind of set up the full board so we know who all the major players are. Even certain things we were kind of hoping on and waiting on, like the level 6 prisoners and stuff, we kind of found out recently that what happened to the level 6 prisoners that kind of got dealt with by CP0, if I remember, or something, like a whole coalition of them. So yeah, I don't know if I think bounty hunters are unlikely at this point. Late 2025 or early 2026, I don't know. We'll get a release date in December probably. Man, if they yeah, I will probably react to every single episode of no, I don't think I will. I think I'll actually probably just sit down and watch at my own leisure these episodes, to be honest. I don't know if I'll see what I want to do, because I enjoyed watching the One Piece live action without having to do reactions for people. Not that I dislike doing reactions, it's just that it becomes its own whole you know, I'm doing a little bit of commentary at the same time, etc. I think I mentioned this many times before. For me, when I'm trying to actually like watch and enjoy something, or read and enjoy something, I like just being in my bed, comfy, world is tuned out, just staying in my zone. But I'm very, very, very excited by what we just saw. Like really, really excited. A lot of the there's two sides of it, right? Which is one, the actual passion and level of care and detail being put into this. It's clearly another level. Like all of the animators are studying like foods, architecture, swords, stuff like that, or the just the really really nitty-gritty nuances. They're trying to make it seems like every single scene and setting as rich and vibrant and thought out as possible. There's a lot of care. I think that they really recognize Oda's art style and the feel of One Piece. I think that's extremely important. And a lot of the shots that we got little stills for, who knows if they look that good in the actual anime, but they are very, very, very beautiful, vividly depicted little shots with a lot of, there's a wide color schemes, lots of shading, uses of light and shadow, framing, etc. That's a cut above clearly what we were getting early on in the anime, right? I think that this is really exciting, really encouraging, and I think, yeah, the biggest thing is I think I just enjoy the overall art style. I get that maybe some of the characters are not quite, maybe we'll get a little bit of adjustment period, but the art style, the feel, the overall aesthetic feels really, really perfect for early One Piece. Really, really, personally, really excited for this. Growth Stonks, thanks a lot. Will it be week to week or seasonal? It's Netflix, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's all released in one go, right? I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. All right, guys. Rising Dooms is maybe doing reviews for it will be better instead of reaction. Yeah, that's what I did for the One Piece live action. All right, guys. We are going to be doing the other thing, which is the the reaction to One Piece 1115. We're definitely going to be doing that because I'm excited for that as well. JWP, thanks for the 5. Made the video talking about when. You watched the video about talking about when One Piece will end. In my opinion, if Oda ever said anything about never said anything about the final saga or 5 years, I would think One Piece had 10 years left. Dude, I don't fucking know how many. I mean, I did that video prediction. I think that's a fairly good guess. I think between 7 to 8 years is basically what I feel. And I think the range, I feel like if it's going at a fucking breakneck speed and Oda needs to wrap things up, I could see 1300 being the earliest. I think if he wants to take his time with everything, I could see 1400 being the latest. So I think those are the two possibilities I'm looking at. All right, we're gonna watch One Piece 1115. Change the stream title. Yeah, I should change the stream title. I don't have a backup thumbnail though. Here, hold on. First, let me find it. It's crazy how easy it is to find these things. What did I use last time? Did I use this? Make sure this is legit. Yeah, I've actually been very excited for this episode. Galaxy Impact I was looking forward to, but this is the first time I think in a long time I've been reacting to episodes back to back. You know what I mean? So like, this is the first time in a long time, I think maybe, I don't even know in how long, that there have been 2 episodes where I'm like, okay, I really like the scene from that episode. I want to continue on watching that in the next episode. Chris Morales says, you definitely have the most comprehensive guess on how long it's going to take until it ends out of all the ones I've seen at Morj. I mean, I'm not going to say that mine's correct, but I do think I'm probably the first person that's broken it down to that degree of like, look, this is what's been happening. These are kind of milestones we've been hitting. This is how the series has been tracking chapter-wise so far. This is how many chapters have been releasing as of late per year. Therefore, all of this is kind of when it will likely end. So I do think it's probably the most comprehensive guess. Whether or not that's correct or not, who knows? Maybe it ends fucking next year if Oda is just like, you know what, I love my family too much. Let me just end it all. I don't know. I'm excited for this episode. All right. Let's do One Piece. Yeah. Episode 1115 reaction. Do I have a thumbnail for this? An alternate thumbnail? Let me take a look real quick. Maybe my editor sent me something. Just gonna check real quick. And then depending on time for this, maybe we'll react to one other thing really quick, but probably not. Yeah, fuck it. We'll rock with the current thumbnail. Oh, Aether, thanks for being a Pirate King team member for the last 16 months. Always good to hear from you, man. I think devil fruits are reincarnated through apples. If indeed they come from the Eve tree, it's possible it's a reference to the Tree of Knowledge in Christianity, part of a headcanon I'm working on. I could definitely see that be the case, but it's also like, yeah, and the one that we saw take form was also an apple, I think, on Punk Hazard, unless I'm mistaken. So maybe it is through apples. I could see that being the case. All right. All right, you guys ready? I'm gonna skip the opening. Don't need all that. Wait, and I'm gonna change the desktop audio. I think for this, we're doing no desktop audio. If we were to have it, we'd put it at max, but we're not doing it. Akash Panda says, please remember to reset opacity after reaction. I will try to remember. If I don't, please spam it, because that shit's important. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 300 real quick. How long is this opening? Oh, shit. Okay. All right, we're starting. Let's go. It's taking a minute. Come on, man. These damn illegal sites. All right, whatever. All right, we're good. Whew. I'm just gonna pause. I'm gonna pause and say one quick thing, which is that like, I understand that the anime has to drag things out. Here's what's frustrating to me. This is it, right? It's small, but it's just a frustrate. It's not small. It's like they're doing so many things that make it that are good decisions, right? Like that are cool decisions for the scene, right? Like I think the framing, the slow little build up in tension, right? The touch of like Aokiji's glass freezing as he's kind of warming up, Blackbeard's hand slowly emitting the darkness, right? It does just enough that's like good and makes it a more dramatic scene and moment. And then because they have to pad time, then they start doing the kind of I can unpin this comment. Then they start doing the sort of like uh the cringy um the cringy, like, rough, sort of, like, clearly fillery. Like, they take a good moment and then they just sort of loop it and keep, like, do, like, a few too many back and forth cuts or whatever that feels just kind of, like, shoddy and amateurish and, like, time wasty. It's like you already had a good, slow paced, tense scene, but you do need to milk it that extra 10-15 seconds longer. And then so you take what feels like a cool setup and then you turn it into something that's kind of just a little bit, like, corny and overdone, just for the sake of that extra 15 seconds. So it's just a little frustrating. It's like, even in the scenes that are like this, like, they're directing it well, it's like, but they have to keep going. Like, they have to keep piling it on past the point that it's actually, like, the past the point that's actually already been effective. I remember it with, like, Zoro cutting the cutting the water spout. Like, yeah, if you want to make it look cool, like Zoro cutting this water spout, that's nice. Like, make it a little extra hype. But then it's getting to the point where it's like cutting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then suddenly zooming in on Zoro's face and his eye and his sword, and, like, back and forth and back and forth. Him, the water spout, blah 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 blah. It's just like that extra 15% that they do just makes it ridiculous. It's just frustrating to watch because it's like there's a good anime in here. It's just bogged down by their refusal to do actual filler and instead force it into the episodes. Especially especially for that degree of build up for not actually having anything. Like, I'm fine with this because, like, I'm not an anime viewer. I knew that this is coming. This is well animated too. This looks cool. This is fun. It's a well animated scene. It's just, it would be a perfect scene if they cut out the corny middle bit, you know? Yeah. The man with the burn mark better not be fucking Dragon, because if it is, it's just like the most overly built up sense of mystery for a guy that's, like, already fairly fucking prominent in the One Piece world. I know he's, like, mysterious in the sense that, like, characters don't see him often, but his fucking wanted posters out there. He's the most famous criminal in existence. And we, the reader, see him all the fucking time. It's just like a lot of added mystery for no real reason. Mm. But then why would they carry the road poneglyph around on the oceans? Just doesn't make sense. Why not keep it on Morj? Some people have speculated that the man with the burn mark might be if Shanks has an evil relative, if he does, an evil brother, cousin, twin, whatever the fuck. Some people have speculated that might be him. Yeah, like Shiryu's gonna do jack shit. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh, this is pretty sick. I don't care what anyone says. Aokiji's taking Blackbeard right now. Because I've seen the arguments that, oh, Blackbeard's his captain, he's a subordinate. But we all see the story of how, like, why Aokiji joined. It's not because he's like, oh, Blackbeard's so strong or whatever, I'm going to join you because you're like captain or whatever. It's literally just Blackbeard begged him to join when Aokiji was about to kick their asses. It has nothing to do with actual strength. Aokiji's just like, oh, well, I can, you know, further my, further my agenda by working hand in hand with the Blackbeard pirates. It's like this. I mean, it's not the same thing. This is a more extreme example, but just because Buggy is viewed as the captain of Crossguild doesn't mean that Mihawk and Crocodile are weaker than him. Everyone's just following their own agenda, you know? It doesn't matter who actually has the title of this or that. It's not like the Straw Hat Pirates where they all swear fealty to Luffy and Zoro's like, oh, he needs to be a certain strength to be my captain or something. Or like, you know, the Beast Pirates that are all based on like hierarchy of strength or anything. Aokiji's just like, oh, I'll join to further my agenda. That's pretty much it. I do, obviously, if Blackbeard has a third fruit that he's hiding, if he has a third fruit that he's hiding, then I think he's above Aokiji. But as of right now, Blackbeard fucking went high diff with Law. And Aokiji's a fucking monster who went like 10 straight days with the Fleet Admiral Akainu, you know? Like, they're not the same. That's harsh. You're unemployed right now? Billy Bob says Law can go high diff with Kuzan too. What the fuck? There's nothing stopping Law from getting frozen the first 15 seconds. There's no Kid running around there. Like, Kid's not going to be there to help, like, take the heat off of him and distract him. There's not going to be, like, random TNT involved. No. Aokiji fucking had Whitebeard on the ropes for a second right there. Aokiji, he had Whitebeard on the ropes for a second. Whitebeard needed assistance. He's not going high diff with fucking Law. He went, like, you know who Aokiji goes high diff with is fucking Akainu. Like, Fleet Admiral Akainu. Endgame villain Akainu. That's who Aokiji's going, you know, high diff, extreme diff with, right? Not Trafalgar Law, the hockeyless bum. Justin Holland, thanks for the 5. Bounty Hunters aren't main players, just pawns to one of the main players. Could Aokiji rematch with Luffy somehow and for his own reasons? Okay, so for Bounty Hunters aren't main players, just pawns to one of the main players. I think just we're at a point where it's like hunting bounties, we're kind of past that, right? Like now it's just like every faction is an all-out war. So, or about to enter into all-out war. Bounty hunting, I just don't know if there's a space for Oda to start writing that into the story. If he does, that's really cool, but I just don't know if there's space to do that. And also, we kind of are aware of every strong character on the ocean, except for the man with the burn mark and the God's Knights. We're at a point in the story where if you're a really strong top tier character or a threat to top tiers, you would have been mentioned already. It just would feel weird if you haven't already. So I just don't know about Bounty Hunters. Aokiji rematching with Luffy would be cool. I mean, Luffy rematched Kizaru, for example. But I think we're also kind of getting past a point where, you know, like, would Aokiji actually try and kill Luffy at this point? I don't know. I don't think, like, from everything we've seen, Aokiji has his own agenda. I don't know if that necessarily necessitates him trying to kill Luffy at some point. Ichi says Dofi hockey greater than Law hockey. I'm just saying, like, in Dressrosa, we were shown that Doflamingo is better hockey than Law. And it's not like Law was training his hockey like Luffy was between Whole Cake Island and Wano. We saw Law's main improvement was he got Awakening, which is its own thing. But you're not beating Aokiji just Awakening, you know? Having a bigger sword won't stop Aokiji from just freezing Law's ass. Oh, shit. Okay. We're good. It's time to see the fight. It's been so long, I forgot that's what I was waiting for. I'm going to say the pace of the episode so far has been fine. It's been good. Except for that little bit towards the beginning. Oh shit. All right, they're throwing in more stuff. These are like, yeah. Damn. Oh. Do I gotta watch the rest of the episode? I think we're good. I. Beanie Head says if Law was hit with that, he'd die. Let's be real. Yeah, I kind of agree. Should we do? How's the rest of the episode? Yeah, I kind of just wanted to watch action. I was cool with sitting through the beginning part. I thought it was a fun scene. All right, I'll watch the rest. All right. Party McFly, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 16 months. Can you imagine what a Megumi Ishitani episode will look like with new style of animation? What big upcoming chapters do you think she can adapt? Are you saying like with the Egghead style of animation? Big episodes coming up. There's so many. I think the Hachinosu raid, obviously. The reverie scenes with Emu and the Gorosei transforming, that'll be cool. The problem is that they're mostly in shadow, so there's only so much that you can show. You can still make it a really atmospherically cool scene. The Hachinosu, the rest of the Hachinosu battle, I think is huge. Luffy versus Kizaru is tricky because it's like, on paper, that was probably the most extensive battle, like single combat battle that we had in this arc. But in reality, I think a lot of readers didn't love it when like it was hype as a concept, but it wasn't that exciting the way that it played out. It was like fine, and then that basically turned out to be the best fight of the arc. So it didn't help that even as Luffy was fighting Kizaru, Saturn transformed, and that kind of overshadowed everything. The Saturn hype was insane when he initially transformed. Then it went down as the rest of the Gorosei were introduced, who were clearly stronger than Saturn. I think the Gorosei's initial introduction in all of their Zoan forms when they arrive on Egghead, that'll be amazing. I think there's lots of spots for really cool bits of action interspersed throughout the Gorosei battle. It's just that the Gorosei battle, it never really got its full focus and attention. It was always in the background of things, Vegapunk's speech. So it's hard to say. But thanks for the support, man, for 16 months. You think Aokiji's looking like this after fighting Trafalgar Bum? Come on. No, come on, man. This is ridiculous. Like, as a reminder, Aokiji essentially showed that he could solo Blackbeard's entire crew by himself while sitting in a bar having a drink, you know? Like, it's not... Like, come on. He's not struggling with just Law by himself. Oh, Somehow they defeated Jean Bart. Somehow Jean Bart was defeated. Who knows how they managed to do it? I can't believe it. Oh, GDN, thanks for the 5. That's a great point. In the scene where they show Kuzan with the montage behind him, so right before he starts fighting Garp, they snuck in the battleship bags flashback. Ah, interesting. That's cool. I like that touch. Meek, thank you for the 5. Yo, how's the stream going? Are you excited for the incoming 1085 adaptation? Yeah. I feel like the reverie scenes are going to be definitely a huge highlight. Definitely going to be a huge highlight. And then right after that, the Hachinosu stuff. I mean, just that stretch of roughly of Shanks versus Kid through the conclusion of the Hachinosu raid, where we got, Shanks versus Kid, obviously, but then Garp Aokiji stuff, Reverie stuff with Sabo and Imu and the Gorse, etc., and then back to Garp Aokiji, Kobe, all of that stuff, Blackbeard Pirate stuff. That was just an insane stretch of chapters. I think this is all going to be like a phenomenal section of anime to watch. If we get a fucking flashback, I'm skipping this. If this is more than 15 seconds, I'm skipping it. All right. Okay. Good. It's like a Senzu bean. Oh shit, that's a cool shot of Blackbeard and the Blackbeard Pirates. That's a phenomenal way to frame him. It really captures the feel of what he's supposed to evoke as a villain. Just the grimiest. Holy shit. Damn, Beppo. Get him. Grab law and go. How does he know? He knows what Sulong is? The anime, this is a cool scene what the anime is doing, but in their need to pad out time, look, power scaling doesn't matter that much, although at the same time, when you're doing action scenes, you need to care about it a little bit. In their need to pad out time, they just do not care who does what in order to make these things happen, right? So at this point, Crackers, Biscuit Soldiers. By anime logic, like if you're an anime only person, right? You've only been watching the anime, you don't know jack shit about what's correct or incorrect. Crackers, Biscuit Soldiers are like I don't even know what to say. They're like legitimately just fucking made out of crackers or some shit, like saltines. They're so fucking far down the list at this point. It's crazy. It's like Luffy's strongest Gear 4th attacks, then Cracker's Biscuit Soldiers, then random rock that Beppo lifts up. That's the scale. What the fuck is this? Holy fuck. No. What the fuck is happening here? Like Sulong is strong, yes, but it took, like, for comparison, I don't know if Beppo in base is even as like Beppo in base we've seen is very, very, very weak. We've seen Beppo in base. He's not that strong. He's like about an average mink, maybe a Forest Guardian level, but he's not even like Pedro level or anything from what we've seen. He's not like Peckhams or something like that. Like even Peckhams is above Beppo, and Peckhams' Sulong got fucked up right away. And then you go a bit further, then you're getting the like you're not at like commander yet level, like Yonko commander level in Sulong until you're like Inuarashi Nekomamushi, right? Beppo is so far down. If you read through all the portrayal of Beppo throughout the story, he's not there. The anime did not get that memo. Who told me to watch this? Which one of you guys were saying to watch this shit? JWP says Sulong Beppo is the strongest Yonko first commander. Who told me to watch this? Was it just to make fun of Beppo? They didn't need to do all... Like, that's the thing. This is what happens when you have a series that just needs to pad out time no matter what. Yeah, it can look kind of cool, but in the first place, in the manga, this was already a suspect moment where it was like, okay, so Beppo... I mean, he's in Sulong, so Beppo in Sulong is somehow able to get away from Blackbeard and Van Augur, which makes no sense in the first place because Van Augur... it was fucking introduced pre-time skip, being able to snipe people from literally further away than islands that were not even in eyeline yet, right? So literally, like, God knows how many, like, miles and miles and miles away Van Augur can snipe you, right? So that was established. And Blackbeard's fruit is, if anyone needs a reminder, his fruit is the fucking... his fruit's fucking specific ability is sucking in everything and anything around him, if he so chooses. He's introduced using his fruit to suck in, with a black hole, the entire fucking city of Bonaro Island. So essentially, Beppo in the first place was introduced using the Sulong ability to get Law away in a situation that makes no sense, because he escaped against two characters who are essentially impossible to escape from. If he was running away from, like, Jesus Burgess or something, that's one thing. Or, like, run away from Big Mom or something, that's one thing. But it's like Blackbeard and Van Augur, they have two abilities that essentially basically make it impossible to run away from. It's whatever. We can, suspension of disbelief, they got caught off guard or something like that. Beppo and Sulong, it also makes no sense for him to be anywhere near that strong that he could even do any of that, but like, suspension of disbelief, it's one panel, Oda just had to make it work. The anime is taking something that was already really, really suspect and really, really required a ton of suspension of disbelief and turning it into a 5-minute segment. Why'd you guys tell me to watch this? This is dumb as fuck. Now what's happening to him? He goes out of Sulong form? What the fuck is happening? Oh my god, I fucking hate you all. Why... Akabatan says they're exhausted. Akabatan says they're exhausted from the Law fight. That makes the least sense possible because Law couldn't put up a fight against like a wet paper bag. All right, let's be real here. Law did not tire them out whatsoever. All right. Oh my fucking god. Law also doesn't say this, I can't leave my friends behind. I don't like the story adding in characterization that isn't necessarily true or not true for the characters. Would Law even say this? I don't know. He does care about his crew, that was established at one point. But we don't yet know. I think you need a little bit more before you decide those sort of things for him. Oh my god. Why is Burgess the one trying to hit them when he's clearly the worst equipped character to do so? Why is the sniper trying not to shoot at them? Or fucking Blackbeard who has a fruit that allows him to suck anything in? All right. So some people might be confused why I like it when the anime adds dramatics to certain scenes and dislike it when they do it for other scenes, okay? So why did I enjoy when like Shanks did that shit to Kid and then the anime added to that, right? Because when Shanks did that to Kid in the manga in the first place, that was depicted as like a very, very dramatic scene, right? It was depicted as a dramatic scene. It just felt like we were missing a little extra. Like it was a scene where it felt like there should be some extra character substance or writing to it, right? It was the narrator saying the Kid pirates are fucking destroyed here, right? And we'd gotten so much buildup already of Kid. Like we'd had this whole dramatic flow of Kid talking about how much he wants to fight a Yonko, how much he's been gunning for Shanks. We see Kid getting to Elbaf. We see Kid preparing on Elbaf and everything like that. Like he's so invested in taking down Shanks. And then in the manga, he just gets one-shotted and the entire Kid pirates are defeated. And it's like a dramatic moment. It's like, holy shit, that just happened to him. It felt like we were actually missing a bit of character writing for Kid that we could have really used right there because we'd gotten so much character build up to this moment. And then we just didn't get anything after that, right? This Law scene is the opposite, where it's the anime just trying to pad for time. Because Law and Blackbeard, the fight happened very out of the blue. It's very sudden. There's not really any sort of character writing or setup before it. It's just like all of a sudden, oh, Law's fighting Blackbeard. And then we're cutting back to it, and it seems like Law's lost, right? And then basically you get 2 panels of Beppo running away, and that's basically it. We understand that this is bad shit for Law, but it's not painted nearly as tragically as what happened to the Kid Pirates. The narrator explaining, like, the entire Kid Pirates fleet is not permanently, but the entire Kid Pirates on this day were destroyed. We're supposed to feel like it's kind of like a Saboti moment for Kid. Whereas with Law, it almost felt like, okay, this random shit happened out of the blue, but at least Beppo and Law were able to get away. We don't really have any sort of context as to how Law might be feeling about any of this, because there was no setup or build up to any of this, right? Like, it just suddenly started happening, like Law and Blackbeard are fighting out of the blue, right? It's very, very different from the Kid situation where, yeah, adding in some dramatic substance because the dramatic build up was there makes sense. With this, it's just like, you're taking a scene from the manga that we don't really have anything communicated yet as to what the dramatic takeaway or the permanence of that or like how the characters' reactions to that would be, and just coming up with a bunch of shit to drag it out. Like, I don't know. All right. I'm upset you guys made me watch the rest of that. Law said that? Well, then I sound stupid saying all that. I still think they over dramatized the shit out of that scene, and they had it closer to what they should have had it when Beppo just did the surprise sort of like get out of the way, grab Law, and go moment, right? All of the dramatics from like Beppo running at Van Auger with the rock, crushing him, stomping Blackbeard, Beppo going out of Sulong again, crawling on his hands and knees to get to Law while the rest of the Blackbeard pirates are like out of commission, Beppo getting in the water, them having this whole fucking dramatic ass like treating it as though Beppo's this like very built up character with a shit ton of relationship that we've had fleshed out with Law, which we really haven't whatsoever. It's just, what's the point of this? What's the point of this? Like, it's just trying to create something where there really there's no setup for it whatsoever for it to be there, right? Beppo and Law, there's no real relationship ever set up. Beppo's never been anything more than a gag character in the manga. It's just so over dramatized just to fill out the run space basically of the episode. That's the type of stuff that I'm never going to enjoy from the anime. I did enjoy the bar. Let's see. From this episode, I definitely enjoyed the bar scene. The bar scene was very good. I thought Garp versus Aokiji, I thought they did that really, really well. I think they did everything well with the Blackbeard and Law scene right up till Blackbeard was reaching down. Blackbeard reaching down is a great shot. Where is that? Yeah, and then the entire Beppo section for the last few minutes was really bad. So, I don't know. It makes sense for the anime because it's just what the anime has to be, I suppose. But it also doesn't have to be that because they could just adapt filler stuff. But, you know, it is what the anime is. All right. All right. Wait. Law fans, man. More just skips every law scene. Read chapter 1081. It all happened. Wait, what? There's no way it all happened. Hold on. Let me read this. Because if it all happened, then I have to apologize deeply to all, for everything I just said. I thought you meant that it just happened as in, like, the what do you call? Wait, let me change opacity. Let me change opacity so that me being incorrect can be shown in full view. All right, let's see. Let's get to the bottom of this then. 1081. Wait, he does throw a boulder. Holy shit. I don't remember him throwing the boulder. Okay. Go back, Beppo. Ah, shit. I don't remember any of this. All right, listen. I'm going to speak directly to the camera. Everything I said for the last 10 minutes trashing the anime was unfair and uncalled for and incorrect. I still think it's somewhat dumb of a scene in the manga itself, so seeing it all dragged out in the anime as well made it worse. But I think I might have straight up blocked out the details of this scene in my mind in the manga itself. So me seeing it dragged out in the anime made me think that this is just bullshit that the anime is making up. But it appears that Beppo in the manga did successfully do this, and then after that successfully drop a rock on them, and then after that successfully get away, and then after that have this dramatic scene between him and Beppo, despite Beppo not being a real character up till this point of the story. It appears as though I blocked this entire section of the story out of my mind because I thought it was dumb. And I thought that there's no reason that Law could get away here. And I thought the Sulog stuff was stupid. But at the same time, I cannot blame the anime. I can only blame Oda and myself for misremembering, obviously. But I can't blame the anime for trying to dramatize the scene because they got to work with what they've got. So that's fair. That's not Toei. That means that this was a perfect episode from start to finish. That's my mistake. At the same time, this probably serves as a good check for myself. Maybe before reacting to anime episodes, I should give myself a bit of a reminder of what actually happened in the manga. That was my mistake. I'm sorry about that, especially to all the anime fans. But that being said, the good news is that means that this was technically another One Piece episode that I think was adapted pretty much perfectly from start to finish. I just didn't like the finish canonically, but that's canon, and that's not actually the episode. Did he kick Van Auger, though? I don't think that happened. L apology? I can't do a better apology than that. That's like the most apologetic apology I could do. Yokai Gota, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 14 months. This is a matter of reading comprehension. Gota 2024. I have to hold that. That was a poor moment of reading comprehension, to be sure. Or at least reading recall. Kiara, thanks for the 20. Hey, Morj, have you seen Black Myth Wukong game that's releasing this month? Will you be playing it? I heard really good things about it. I kind of want to see what public opinion is of it first, like if it's a good game, because I've wanted a game that has like Sekiro style combat. If it has that, I'll probably play it. If it's good. Wrench Dodger 2000, thanks for being a member for 19 months. First Jinbei fan, now Lon Beppo. This is Morj 911. Yeah, the Jinbei fan from the One Piece creators. At least Jinbei doesn't come along for a long ass time. Cry, don't believe the apology. I wish I could, man, but I don't have a better apology in me. All right. I I have to accept the grill. L comments. I don't have a better apology than that. I should have done better. That's on me. I can't just blame the anime for my own shortcomings. Although, I guess the one thing I can cling on to is I do think it's funny that Van Auger couldn't shoot through the rock. But that's its own separate thing, because that's more so related to the Biscuit Soldiers. The Biscuit Soldier situation from earlier. Okay. Good news overall in the grand scheme of things, despite me being incorrect, is that's 2 episodes back-to-back that I enjoyed fully of the anime. I don't know what comes next in the manga. I feel like the Reverie stuff almost starts. So... Oh no, Cross Guild stuff. I don't know if I'll watch this, just because I'm more likely to watch the anime if there's some action involved, but I could watch that. Nah, I'm not going to watch the Cross Guild. I love this chapter. I love 1082, but I don't know if I'm going to watch it just to watch the Cross Guild speech. Adja, we'll see depending on how much content we have next week's stream. Adja Lodi, thanks for being a Yonka tier member for a month. The anime fleshes out scenes with clarity, which we otherwise often end up forgetting in the manga due to the congested paneling. That's true. I agree that that's true. As long as it's not over-dramatizing something that I feel like didn't have any weight in the manga either. Like... I think like that's a complaint I had with like Yamato versus Kaido, because it's not like because the anime treated that very, very dramatic as though it's Luffy versus Usopp or something like that. It was like, this is like that's that level of drama, when it's like, we just met Yamato, we have zero context for this character. She literally showed up, yelled, I am a new character you'd never heard of, and I hate my dad, and I care about Wano because I read it in a diary, and now I'm mad. And that was basically it. That's the setup for Yamato. Also, the added bit that she's delusional and thinks she's Odin and has an identity crisis, but that's separate, right? So it's literally just like drop in a character, say, I am someone you never heard of, but I'm important because that's my dad. I hate my dad. I read in a diary that Wano's being mistreated, so now I'm mad. That's all we got for Yamato, and then suddenly you're having like this super dramatic, like yelling, screaming showdown. Like Dragon Ball Z, like fucking... like, this is the fucking fate of Namek on the line, and it's just like, who are... You just showed up out of nowhere, and you have no connection to this story, or no setup in this story whatsoever. When the anime is gonna go something like that ridiculous, and just have, like, screaming, crying, peeing your pants over a character that just dropped in, and has zero actual dramatic buildup, then I'm gonna think it's basically downright silly, because that's what it is. But I was being unfair here with this Beppo scene, for sure, because... we did get a little bit of stuff for Beppo here in the manga. It's not as bad as I was making it sound like. And, you know, at the end of the day, if the anime is going to drag on a little bit extra scene that maybe it would have been good to get a little bit more emphasis on Law missing his friends or something. I think that's good. It's okay to like Yamato. It's just that Yamato's inclusion is just silly, you know? Akash Panda, thanks for the 2. It's not like your job requires you to remember the One Piece manga. Hey, that's mostly I remember it pretty well. I'll say mostly I remember it pretty well. Akapatan says most people like Yamato despite the criticism, so it's still a worthy character. I mean, it depends. Like, if you think it's a well-written character, it's just I think people. Here's the reality, right? In terms of Yamato, people liking Yamato, I can say with confidence that Yamato is well liked because Yamato is an attractive, strong woman character, basically, right? That's it. I can say with confidence that that's why Yamato is liked, because you can go back to the initial reactions of Yamato's gender reveal when she took off the mask and everything. And people were really, 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 really excited and over the moon with this character. People were just like... People didn't care about Yamato initially when Yamato was mentioned. When Yamato first ran into Luffy, people were kind of like, who's this character? Once Yamato's design was revealed and people were like, oh, this this strong Amazon woman lady character or whatever is being introduced that seems badass and stuff. We like this character. That was the overwhelming sentiment the moment Yamato's character design was revealed. So I can say with extreme confidence that most of Yamato's fandom was set in stone right off the bat from her introduction. So it's largely based on design. The only thing that happened is that once she started talking and her actual character started to get revealed more over and over time, then, whereas initially maybe like 95 or 100% of people really liked Yamato and were interested in her, then slowly as she started talking, she started losing a lot of fans. That's basically what happened. As she started talking, she started losing a lot of fans and became more polarizing as time went on. But a good majority of people still liked her because that's all they really needed, which was the design, the fact that she's like this Amazon sexy female strong character, whatever. That's the reality of it, because you could just go, if you think I'm incorrect with this, you can go back to the initial introduction of her character and see reactions just to the design. It's largely but just from the design. I remember, I'm a content creator. I was excited when it was revealed that Yamato's a woman and not a man, because I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, we're actually having a strong female character written into the story this late. Turns out she was fucking bananas, but, that didn't stop a lot of other readers from maintaining the superficial like for Yamato, is what I would say. I think it's very, 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 very rare that I've ever heard anybody say that they like Yamato for her deep character writing. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. So my take is that everybody who liked her initially liked her for the same reason, which was basically design purposes, and that's pretty much it. I will always maintain that if Yamato was just some like ugly looking random ass dude, she would have like 5% of the fans that she has today. Can you imagine that? Just like this ugly looking random ass dude who's introduced towards the like in the middle of the final battle, who starts saying, hey, I'm Kaido's kid you never heard of, and I'm Odin. I'm the new Odin. I'm Odin. What's my personality trait? I just love Odin. I love sucking off Odin, and also I am Odin. And that's the only thing that their dialogue is on loop for the rest of the arc. It would drive people fucking insane. But because it's Yamato, immediately from her design, it was almost like impossible for her to fail in the broader One Piece fandom. Lee Peace, thanks for the 5. Luffy should get rid of his Devil Fruit because Haki is the best, and Nika has lost at least 2 times. Maybe train with Dragon after the time skip. I don't think Luffy should get rid of his Devil Fruit. Nika losing at least 2 times. I don't know what that means. Maybe I don't think training with... This is kind of a wild comment. I don't think he's going to train with Dragon. I don't think any of this is going to happen. I think this is kind of pretty extreme unless you're being facetious or something. JP, thanks for the 10. In all fairness, the anime did add a lot more focus to Yamato A's story and her isolation, as well as her bond with the samurai before dramatizing her versus Kaido. Yeah, but that's all non-canon filler bullshit too. So it's like, well, I'm supposed to give him props for like adding more non-canon filler bullshit to a character that doesn't really exist, and then piggybacking off of that to write Yamato versus Kaido as though it's Luffy versus Usopp. I think that's kind of silly. Magda D386 says she's no different to Zoro, good-looking badass with no depth. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me, because what if we compare to like Zoro's character introduction, right? So if we go to Zoro's character introduction, I think Zoro in his first like 4 pages has much better character writing than Yamato does in all of her existence. Goody and Timey, etc. Blah 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 blah. The rice ball scene, crushing the rice balls, right? Zoro offering to eat the rice ball. First of all, Zoro having this conversation with Luffy about, who he is, the types of ideals that he sticks to, how he refuses to be a pirate, but then at the same time, how he doesn't care what everybody else thinks of him, etc. Everyone thinks you're a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Like, so much is communicated in the scene. Like, the final, like, him rejecting Luffy, him rejecting the pirate's life, him establishing that he has desires of his own, him being on a cross establishing the type of person that he is, and then us realizing the type of person he is inside, like the softer side that he has for him, and then finally the sacrifice that he's making right off the bat, and then finally the end of the chapter revealing that Zoro is actually the good guy, and the thing that he's enduring on the cross is for being a good person and not caring about authority, etc. I would argue genuinely that single like half chapter alone makes Zoro a significantly better character than Yamato was in literally Yamato's entire screen time across all of Wano, and it's not really close whatsoever, right? It's not even about Zoro as a main character or not. It's like, this is just basic character writing. Like, Yamato never had a moment of good character writing, period. I think the closest I would say is she gave a good speech to Momonosuke to help prod Momonosuke. I think that's the closest I was like, okay, That was the first time something came out of Yamato's mouth that wasn't fucking idiotic. That wasn't like, I'm Odin and I just love Odin and I'm going to do everything Odin did because I read it in a diary. Also, I need to join the Straw Hats because I just deserve to be a Straw Hat. It's actually not even close. Okay. All right, everybody. Grout Mobile says, Yamato Ace filler was good, bro. Why don't you like it at Morj? Because it's just a fucking filler scene. It's not like a real scene. Why would I watch it? I did enjoy Kid Killer, so I believe that it can be a good scene, but I'm not gonna like sit down and like, I watched that scene because I was already in the flow of watching that episode, so I'm gonna sit down and continue to watch that scene, and I'll give props to that scene, but I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, that scene is canon, you know? Like, that's just a cool scene to add a nice accent to the episode, but it's not canon. It's not something that actually happened. It's not like it's not like, oh, because that anime scene exists, now there's actual added depth to Kid and Killer's character. It's like, oh, that would have been nice if the actual story had that level of depth for Kid and Killer's character. But the reality is, next time I see them in the anime or in the manga, I'm still going to think of them the way I think of them without that scene's existence, because the scene doesn't exist. Does that make sense? ISS1155, thanks for the 5. Zor's depth is subtle, where most things in One Piece are drawn out. React to the Par video. The Par video? What Par video? I think Zor's depth post-time skip has been generally non-existent. So I think pre-time skip, you could say that, yeah, Zoro had a lot of scenes that communicate character depth that maybe weren't the most drawn out. But post-time skip, it's generally been, I think, close to non-existent, yeah. Lee Peace, thanks for the 2, and thanks for your 10th super ever. Big Mom is stronger than Whitebeard, Boa over Kuzan. I don't know. Boa is too difficult to place in general, because her ability is just too weird. It can either one-shot you or it can't, is kind of how I feel about it. In actual combat, she got caught by Blackbeard pretty quickly. It was probably a sneak attack, though. It's hard to say. I don't think Blackbeard could ever take out Aokiji that quickly. But again, Boa Hancock has a really weird one-shot ability, so it's hard to say. Big Mom is stronger than Whitebeard. I think Big Mom... How do I say this? Like, Big Mom's hard to place because I don't think Prime Whitebeard is weaker than Big Mom, obviously. But, like, Big Mom as of Onigashima, or sorry, Big Mom as of the modern day story versus Whitebeard, it's really hard to place because like just random shit can just happen to Big Mom, like shit that doesn't even make sense. Like again, the thing I'll always pull back to that I think is kind of absurd and ridiculous is like, I think like, whoops, that's way too far. It was 987, right? Maybe it's like here. No, it's like here. Like, am I still screen sharing? Yeah. Like, when Big Mom is facing off against, I don't know, like when this shit happens to her, you know? Like, she just gets run over by a motorcycle, and then, like, right after that, just Jinbei and Robin fucking dispose of her like she's just, like, a random Toby Ropa or something like that. Like, shit just happens. I genuinely, for the life of me, cannot imagine something like this ever happening to Whitebeard, you know? Like, it just feels so different. I mean, like, Whitebeard was out here, like... Like, Whitebeard's out here being attacked by everybody and, like, fucking Kaido and all that shit. And, like, this is, like, you can't just, like, fuck with Whitebeard like that, you know? Like, he got stabbed by Squardo. That happened. But that's, like, his own, like, being backstabbed literally by your own comrade, right? Like, your own son. It's just, I can't imagine, like, characters treating Whitebeard like that. He was only ever really given trouble by admirals straight up, and, like, they threw admiral after him. Big Mom, there's just too many points in the story where it's like just something dumb is happening to her. I mean, like, this isn't the first time or the last time. Like, Big Mom on the ship, and you could say, well, she was hungry, but like the Straw Hats still kind of had their way with her, but she was still hungry and weakened. But then they do it again in Onigashima, and then I know I've talked at length about the kid and law stuff, but like it is really fucking like she'll just be talking to Law, or like she'll be fighting Law a bit, and then Kid just hits her with a bowl or like a random ass thing, and then she's like facing Kid, and then Law just tapped. Like, it's just, there's dumb shit that just happens to her. At the same time, it seems like she's strong enough, like if she's serious and focused, she can fight Kaido for at least like a day or something like that straight up. So I don't know how to place Big Mom versus Kaido, or Big Mom versus Whitebeard. I think that's a really hard one to call. Pratyush Golcha, thanks a lot. Hi, finally was able to catch one of your live streams. Liked your videos. Thanks a lot. And thanks for your first super ever. I'm happy that you're able to tune in. Seriously, I'm probably going to call it pretty soon. I think it's gone a little bit late, so I don't know if I'm going to react to other stuff like Pokemon Adventures. We might have to wait for that for the next stream, because we reacted to a couple things here. Ender Anami says, Big Meme has the worst anti-feats, only rivaled by the Giants, which is pretty funny to think about it, lol. Yeah, she's got a lot of just really bad showings. I don't know. Just a lot of really random bad showings and bad moments. It seems like at full strength, we're supposed to view her as like comparable to Kaido. It just rarely feels like that. Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. I'm probably gonna, let me just double check if I've got anything else here. Yeah, I think that we've covered everything. All right, guys. I'm excited for the new One Piece anime, that's for sure. And yeah, I think we've covered everything I wanted to watch and cover on this stream here for sure. Unless I'm forgetting something. But yeah, I think we covered everything. One Piece comes back this week. Right, this week? Yeah. I think One Piece comes back this week. And yeah, besides that, I think we're all good. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, I will talk to you all later. Yeah, everybody liked the stream. And yeah, I will talk to you all later. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll be streaming this Thursday once the One Piece chapter comes out. So I'll see you all then.